Hello, everybody. Welcome again to another edition of BadgerBlitz TV. I'm Jay Kokorowski, senior writer at BadgerBlitz.com. Of course, yourrivals.com destination for all things Wisconsin athletics from the recruiting trail, inside Camp Randall Stadium, which is actually under construction right now, and on the court of the Kohl Center. And today we're really excited to bring on someone I've had a chance to talk with, and obviously detail his walk-on journey. You see him formerly number 37 for Wisconsin. You see them in that picture there against Purdue back from the 2019 season. Guess what, folks? We got a former Badger player, an acting running backs coach recently, Garrett Groshek. Garrett, man, thanks for making time. How are you doing and overall, and where are you at right now?
I'm grateful, man. I'm back in Amherst, Wisconsin for right now. Just staying active, like me and you were talking about, just staying active with house stuff, or just keep moving, keep learning, doing some other stuff right now as well.
Awesome, man. Last year we're 2022 already, which is, I can't comprehend that to begin with right now. It's already 2022, but last year you played in the NFL. You've been an acting head, college running backs coach. You stopped having the mullet for a little bit. You appeared to bring it back for the bowl game. I saw that picture there. I think I've documented that on social media. All in 1 year. How would you describe your 2021?
And I think it's just a huge year of growth. Serendipity was a big word for me last year. Finding the positives in everything, all the hidden blessings, just being around, such great people throughout this whole year, a whole bunch of new people from, pro day training, combine training in Nashville, agent to being in Vegas, all the people in Vegas and part of the Raiders organization, hanging out for, a week in Minnesota and getting to meet some of those guys. And then, being back home for some of that, being back in Amherst for some of that, and being able to be around former coaches, some former teammates, and just being able to kind of, wind it back a little bit and be able to help some of the high schoolers that are coming through, and being able to spend a week in Vegas then with the last of our recruiting class, with Noah Burks and Jack Dunn and Mikey Mascalunas, really the end of our era in Wisconsin as far as players go, and being able to hang out with them for that week and be a part of that week is special, and then getting to meet some of the new faces and see some of the young guys and kind of see what they're all about and build a little bit of a relationship with them.
Excellent, man. I mean, let's talk. You talked about the end of an era per se. You may not see this up on your screen, but we have this up our slide. I mean, you played 47 career games at Wisconsin between 2017 and 2020, 235 career carries, over 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns on the ground, and then an additional 79 career receptions, all for a former walk-on who, I forgot about this. I was listening to the Believe in Badgers podcast with Matt Perkins and Matt Bernstein, great guys, and shout out to those guys. But I forgot that you were, it slips your mind where back in the 2016 season, man, you were a quarterback with Bart Houston and Alex Hornibrook and others, and then of course you stepped in as the running backs coach, for the 2021 Las Vegas Bowl. I guess just when with you last year signing with the Las Vegas Raiders after the draft, talk about the week in Minnesota, part of the practice squad there. Just how would you describe your experiences at the next level in terms of the differences between, the pro game from what you've seen, the pro game, and then also the college game, and just what were the differences and what you had to navigate through?
I've kind of been asked that question by some of the guys coming out this year, and to me, the biggest difference, or the best way that I had for explaining it, is in college you can kind of think a little bit during the play. In the NFL, you can't really think during the play. It's got to be pretty much all instinctual, all reactive, and doing it as fast as you can. And that's kind of the best way. But as far as like the off-field stuff, Wisconsin does a great job of getting you ready to be a professional. You have a whole bunch of guys that have been through it, even just on the coaching staff, that'll help teach you what it's like off the field, and always such great alumni and former teammates that are always open to helping the younger guys out and letting them understand kind of the differences between the two. And everybody's got their own way of explaining it, but Wisconsin does a really good job of prepping you to be a professional on and off the field.
And two, talk about that. Did I see that you were listed as a fullback by Minnesota at one point? And how did you feel about that in terms of, you're a tailback too, but, they listed you as a fullback?
Yeah, they when they signed me, they said it pretty much for a fullback for the week. I was still doing some running back stuff as far as scout team goes. For me, that had been, I guess, pretty much 2 months without playing football. So I was just happy to be back in the building, happy to be around the game, and excited for another opportunity to just get on the field.
Absolutely. Now, transitioning to that, then in December, we hear word that you're acting as the running backs coach for Wisconsin during the 2021 Las Vegas Bowl. You talked about the end of the era with Noah Burks and Jack Dunn and your old crew at Wisconsin. Just if it's okay asking, just when did you start getting that call? Or when did you get the call? When did the process all start for you? And what was your reaction to being asked to take part in that?
Coach Chris had called me the Tuesday the week before, so a couple of days before Christmas, and just had brought up that Coach Brown might not be able to travel with us or travel to the bowl game, and asking if I would be able to finish out the year, which we had seen each other, I think it was a Thursday or Friday the week before. Me and Mason Stocky stopped at practice and we're checking the guys out and seeing how everyone was doing. And obviously, love to have a chance to, get back in the locker room, be around those guys, be around the coaches as well, and kind of see what the other side of it is like. Going through college as a player, never thought that I would be interested at all in coaching, just based off the time commitment, and figured that would be the best way for me to for sure cross it off the list of something that I wouldn't want to do. And just the opportunity to meet some of these younger guys and see what the team's looking like for next year and some of the players, and just be able to build some more relationships, and a trip to Vegas is a nice little bonus as well.
I would say within that too, how long did it take for you to accept that offer?
So he called me in the morning right after they were done with practice on that day. I said, let me talk to my wife first, and sent her a text. She was at school, and then she just said, yeah, for sure, do it. So we kind of decided that, and then just made sure that she would be able to come with on the trip to Vegas. Had to shuffle around some Christmases, but then I was at practice on that Wednesday. That next day, slept on Jack Dunn and Noah and Mikey's couch. I went back to pack everything up on Friday, or Thursday night, and then left on Friday for Vegas.
So you've known those coaches. Call him maybe Coach Chris, call him Coach Rudy. I know Joe's no longer with the program, but Coach Whitted. You call them all coaches. Do you call them by the first names then? Do you say like, "Hey Paul," or do you still call him Coach, or "Hey Alvis," or "Hey Mickey," or or do you say, "Hey Coach," "Hey Coach Turner," "Hey Coach," like as a former, like how do you navigate that balance now that you're no longer a player, now you're a coach in this whole, I don't call it a dimension, but a whole new realm of being part of the program?
Yeah, I think that's another part that Wisconsin's kind of similar from the NFL is we didn't necessarily call everybody by coach. Like Rudy was always just Rudy. Witt was just Witt for Coach Whitted. And then Mick, because he's a little bit younger, I think too. I call him Mick. And then Coach Chris is PC.
PC.
But yeah, just like even like you got the strength staff like Snee,
Yeah.
like it's just Snee, it's just Costi,
Yeah.
Graves, or John or Coach Ty. So guys like that where it's more of a collaborative relationship and really more of a relationship than just a coach player student teacher type of relationship, really, to where there's more than just the game.
And then I guess even within that too, you're coaching the running backs. You had a different running backs coach in John Settle. Gary Brown came on this year. As a player that was underneath the tutelage of another assistant coach. How did you try to merge, knowing what you were taught, and then combining with whatever trying to merge or figure out how they were coached, if there was any differences between the running backs room from last year to this year. How did you go about doing all that?
Well, I had been in the spring when Coach Brown was hired. I had been to a few practices, so kind of got a little bit feel of his style. Knew that he was a great coach as well. So just tried to come in, and I told the guys too, and you got guys like Ship and Isaac and Julius that have been through both coaches and John, that would be able to tell me differences between the two. But just being open with them, hey, if I'm saying anything that Coach Brown was not saying or saying the opposite of, then go with that.
Yeah.
Not in here to change anything or change how you guys play in a week. We're just trying to, do whatever it takes to get you guys ready to play the game.
Now, player that you didn't receive an opportunity to play with, but put up some big yards, Braelon Allen. From your vantage point, from seeing him in person, and he had almost 160 yards against Arizona State in that Las Vegas Bowl on 29 carries. Just what did you see out of him, out of that small sample size? I'm sure you've probably watched the games too this season, but what did you see with him in person? And I know it's kind of maybe a vague question, but what potential do you see out of him in that pantheon of Wisconsin running backs?
It's the same as all of them. It's all up to him. As far as how successful he wants to be, or what his definition of success is for his career at Wisconsin. But the best part is being able to see how he practices. He practices like a professional, consistent every day. Is there to put in work and wants to get better, and you can see that he wants to learn and wants to get better. And is very smart for a first-year player. And as the game was going on, and this is, I think, actually on the last drive, we were just talking about, the end of the season, and it being a long season. And he had mentioned that that was his second season in that calendar year, which I had completely forgotten about as well, or wasn't necessarily thinking about him playing a high school season and in the spring, and then coming and play a fall season. But as long as he takes care of the little things, takes care of his body, stays healthy, it's really up to him as how much he wants to accomplish in his career and how successful he wants to be.
Absolutely. And I know that you talked with I'm pubbing the Believe in Badgers podcast too, because Matt and Bernie are good friends and whatnot. So I know you talked about that too. And folks, make sure you guys check out that Believe in Badgers podcast too, from earlier, was it just about a month or two ago there. But I was going to say, looking at that other running back room, there's stuff like, you talked about Brady Shipper, Julius Davis back from your room, Isaac Garendo, who I know suffered an injury during the middle of the year that cost him the rest of 2021. But you also have Ches Malusi, who, like Isaac, suffered an injury that cost him the rest of the year too. I guess from what I know, you haven't been able to see what Isaac or Ches can do, but in your eyes, and from what you were able to, who you're able to mentor in that week in Vegas, just how do you foresee this running back room looking for Wisconsin besides Braelon for 2022 and beyond?
Well, the standard is the standard. It's been the same for that room. It was since I got there, since Coach Settle was there, and the guys before that, Melvin, James, Monty. That's just what it is. That's the, that's really the foundation or the benchmark of where you got to be at. You got to be able to produce. But I've been able to see Isaac, the past 2 years that he's been, that we were in the same room together. So I know how talented he is, and people got to see flashes of that where they had, I think it was the Eastern Michigan game where, Ches, Braelon, and Isaac all had pretty decent games. And being able to stop in and talk to Ches a little bit at practices before he had gotten hurt, because he was rehabbing while we were in Vegas. Knowing that it's up to them, as long as they stay committed to learning, committed to getting better, that group's gonna keep the standard, and then hopefully do their part to try to raise it and sustain it. And even the younger guys, Julius and Jackson and Grover. I think that's it as far as running back goes. Those guys they're excited to learn. They're excited to get better. They want to be better. And as long as they keep that mindset, they'll keep going in the right direction.
Now, looking at fullbacks, John Chanel came in, had a huge impact on the game in that win against Arizona State. He's off to the NFL. You have Quan Easterling entered the transfer portal mid-season. Just, I guess, from what you can tell and from what from what you feel, how do you think that fullback room is going to look, and who do you think is going to continue that legacy coming up next season too?
Right now it'll be Riley Okowski. He got a bunch of the reps, not just fullback reps, but he was also taking tight end reps. So until John got there, Riley was our fullback 1 and tight end 3. So he wasn't getting much of a break, but he was doing a tremendous job playing fullback. And then over the course of that week, we had moved TJ Bullers to fullback to just try to have more than one, because we weren't sure about if John was going to be able to show up until that day that, I think it was a Tuesday or Wednesday game when the CDC changed the guidelines. And so he got a couple reps at it. I don't know what the coaching staff's plan is to keep him on defense or switch him over. I don't know as far as freshmen coming in, who's there or bringing to the table. But Riley's going to be in a great position moving into next year, having a year at fullback under his belt and got a bunch of really good practices in at the end of the year, starting to understand the game, understand the position. He's a very smart player, very tough player. So right now he's the most experienced guy, and it'll be interesting to see who else they kind of throw in behind him and throw into the mix.
Last question for you, Garrett, before we let you go. What's next for you? What are you going to be doing now? Preparing and with your football career. You're going to try to get back into coaching at some point down the road after your experience in Vegas. And what's next for you, man?
Right now, I'm studying for my CFP, staying in shape, staying ready to play football. Not actively pursuing coaching, and just being ready for if that opportunity presents itself, then we'll deal with it, but not trying to deal with things that are out of your control right now. Just trying to keep learning, keep growing, just trying to find ways to keep being a better person.
Excellent, man. Garrett, I appreciate you. I know I told you 15 minutes. I think we're running on nearing 20, so I apologize on my end, my friend. Appreciate you again making time, man. Continued best wishes, warm wishes for success, and looking forward to seeing what's next for you, man. Yeah,
appreciate it, Jake. Thanks for having me. Always fun talking to you, man.
Folks, that's Garrett Groshek, former Wisconsin running back and acting running backs coach. For me, this is BadgerBlitz TV. We're gonna actually let you all go. We'll talk to you later this week with more videos coming up, probably more interviews, post-game interviews from Wisconsin and Penn State on Saturday too. We're going to have more on Badger Blitz. Just search YouTube. Just come back later this week. We'll talk to you soon.